Welcome back again, guys, from Tampa Bay. Today I'm bringing you the 2015 Ducati Diavel Carbon Edition. Okay, first impressions. Wow, a lot of vibration. It feels like a big V-twin. It's got the shake, it's got the rumble. I feel it through my seat. It is shaking the handlebars and the mirrors like Michael J. Fox. Holy moly, look at that. This one lets you know it's got some power. Ergonomics, stretched out. I'm a little scrunched in the seat. It does not have much forward to back space in the seat, in the saddle itself. All right, it's got this shelf up against my butt, and it's got a hard cover where the passenger seat would be. And then my nuts are squished against the tank. Not comfortable at all. We have a digital tachometer. Not very easy to read, have to say. It's one of those segmented bars. It sweeps left to right, so you have to look down at it. It's not something you can glance at. That's why I really love sweep needle tachs. Let me put my visor down here. Sorry about the noise. 6 gears. Let's go down into 4th here. It's got a lot of torque, but you do have to gear it down. It vibrates so darn much in that top gear. It's not something you just want to lug around. Let's go down into 2nd. It does smooth out when it revs up. It's a pretty short bike. I can stand up and I've got a good probably 2 inches under my butt. Come on, cars. Nice signal. There we go. It does not like to turn much at all. You have to muscle it through the corner. Some bikes, they'll fall right over. They'll turn completely naturally. Other bikes, just from the way the steering is set up, this one just wants to push straight, even going side to side here. The steering almost feels like it wants to lock straight, you know what I mean? I'm really having to push on the bars to counter steer, surprisingly. It doesn't feel like a flat tire or anything, but that's kind of the low tire pressure. I'm gonna have it check it when I get back. It feels like that kind of steering input. A little sluggish. It's got a real nice exhaust note and an overrun backfire when you decelerate. Now the gear indicator is way down on the tank, and I have to physically move my head down to see it. Pretty much useless. Oh man, come on, turn. This thing turns like a pig. Absolute pig. It turns exactly like a VMAX. So if you've ridden that, you know what I'm talking about. Absolutely not a flickable bike, if that's what you're looking for. This likes to go in a straight line. I have a feeling, oh crud, water. Hold on. I don't need to get water all over the camera lens for this ride. There we go. There's no windscreen, obviously, which is completely fine with me. I'm actually looking for a naked bike, so that is a welcome thing. I want the air. I have a full face helmet, so I don't mind having no windscreen at all. There's actually less noise for me having no windscreen than a small one. And I like the cooling airflow. It's really not an issue unless you're doing long freeway trips without a windscreen, because then the air wants to push you back. But I'll tell you what, this seat is pinning me in so much, I wouldn't even care if the air did try to push me back. So yeah, the gear indicator, I have to look this far down to even see it in my vision with the helmet on. So if it was up here, I could glance down. I can see right to this line here. I can see my glove looking down with my eyes. And then here, look with my head. So I am not a fan at all of tank-mounted gauges for anything. To me, they're just absolutely useless. So right now it's in sport mode. It's got full engine power available, 162 horsepower, high response. So it's pretty much as zippy as it gets. It's give it a first gear run here. Come on, turn. Alright, so 20 miles an hour first gear. Let's see what it's got. Oh my, it has a ton of torque. I had to put it down. I am not looking to wheelie, but that was going to come right off the ground, no problemo. Lots and lots and lots of power, and a very light bike with a short relative wheelbase. Even though it steers like a pig, it goes like stink in a straight line. All right, this is the Italian counterpart to the VMAX. So if that's what you're looking for, that's what you're going to get. Let's go down into second and goose it. 35. I had to kind of work the throttle there a little bit to keep the front end down, even in second gear. But that first gear, not only does it have a lot of power, it's a short gear. Let's see what it winds out at. Make sure Tom doesn't run into me. So it hits red line and hits the red limiter at 60 miles an hour in first. So that is, for a big motored bike, pretty short. You know, sport bikes are well over 100 usually. Even my FJR goes above 60 in first gear. So that combination means brutal acceleration, probably hence the name Brutale. Nope, my bad, I'm not on the Brutale, I'm on the Diavel. I wanted to ride the Brutale, but they didn't have one. The rear end doesn't really feel planted when I get on it. It almost feels a little squirrely. That's the same kind of feeling I get out of my bobber, actually. It feels like there's some side-to-side motion when it squats down. It does have quite a bit of rear end squat, so the suspension is working. It's a plush ride. I don't feel any jarring. Now, I just came off of the BMW S1000 XR, and that was more of a adventure bike, so it had a lot of suspension travel. This does not. This is more what I'm looking for as far as the ride quality. This is more of a sport bike front end. It's shorter. I can't bounce it. On these sweeping corners, it feels great. It's only on the slow speed stuff that it steers like a pig. The faster you go, the better it feels. This does not feel very top heavy, surprisingly. It's a big bike. It's a heavy bike for what it is, but it feels very low. So I was starting to feel the steering kick in there. I was waiting for this guy. There's a big golf community in here, and usually everybody coming down this road lives there. So I didn't want to pass him. That front end was coming up there in second. You know, it's funny. Looking at the Speedo, it feels like you're doing a lot more than you are. It really does. When I did that same run on the BMW or even my FJR, it feels like those are quicker bikes. I know the BMW is. But this one gives you that rush. You feel the torque in this a lot more than the sensation of speed. It feels planted. It feels like it's pushing you back into the seat, which obviously it is. Man, you do not want to lug this engine. This thing I'm not even in top gear. And when I get on it here, 35 miles an hour in fifth, it's shaking so much through the frame, through the handlebars, through the seat, everything. You just don't want to ride it. You have to gear this down to be even a pleasant ride. Very nice exhaust note. It sounds like a muscle car. It sounds like a big V8. It is aggressive. It's got a loud tone to it. I think I lost Tom. Oh, there he is. It smooths out when you get about 6,000 RPM as far as the exhaust tone. But when you're giving it gas under load, in that right sweet spot, I'd say from 3 to 6, it's got that snarl. I mean, it sounds like a big classic muscle car sound, even through my helmet. So I imagine the guy behind me, Tom, who's a buddy of mine, is hearing it as well. Man, you really hear it when you gear down. Very smooth shifting. Transmission is butter slick. The clutch lever feels rickety. Yeah, man, I tell you what, if you need to keep that thing down on the ground, you have to short shift it. There's just no way around it. Unless you are completely leaned over to the tank, there is no way you can give this full throttle all the way to redline in first gear. Not in dynamic, or I should say sport mode. I imagine it has some kind of wheelie or traction control, but not in whatever mode it's in, which is sport. I'm looking for a mode button. I don't want to start hitting stuff. But you know what? I don't want to come out of sport. Man, even in 6th gear at 50 miles an hour, you get on it, the whole thing just shakes like a freaking Harley. The mirrors are just bouncing up and down. I can feel the pistons going up and down in the frame. It's vibrating all the way down to my legs, through absolutely every part of the bike. So if you're looking for a smooth ride, this is not going to be it. This is going to be one that's muscle. Think drag bike. Like I said, think Yamaha VMAX. That's exactly what this thing is going for. Excellent straight line acceleration. Absolutely phenomenal. Definitely gives you a rush. Feels nimble enough at speed. It really does. But the transmission, absolutely butter smooth up or down. You really don't even feel it shift. All I feel is when the pedal, or not the pedal, the shifter itself hits the top or the bottom of its range. I don't feel the transmission, the gears. Butter smooth. I wish Yamaha would really get with the times as far as that goes. Because I love my FJR, but man, the transmission is nowhere near as smooth as some modern bikes. And that transmission design is old. It's like a 20-year-old design. It shows. So looking down at the gauges, we got a whole bunch of dummy lights, turn signals, ABS, check engine, neutral, oil pressure, low fuel. Is there a fuel gauge? Yes, there is. A little tiny icon in the corner here. It's a green square. It's got a fuel tank and looks like 4 total bars. We're on 3 out of 4 right now. But again, you have to look down to see anything. I don't like looking down to have to see anything on the bike. I want to look with my eyes because it's quicker. You don't want to take your eyes off the road if you don't have to. A lot can happen in just that time frame. 1 second. Timed right is all it takes. 4,000 RPM, when it hits 60 in top gear, is when the vibration goes away. So let me see if it's an RPM thing or a combination speed gear thing. I think it's RPM related. So above 6,000, nice and smooth. Below 6,000, full on Harley shake. Like unusable mirror shake. Like Royal Enfield mirror shake. It's like, okay, I know there's somebody behind me. I have no idea what it is. Right there. Okay, 4,500. That's the magic line. I was looking down at the tack that time. Ergonomics are actually not that bad. It's a little too forward for me. I would like some more elbow bend. My arms are straight out. I'm 6'2", 32-inch inseam, so I've got a fairly tall torso and fairly long arms, but it's a stretch to these bars. The width is good. The brake pedal on the rear is a little bit low for me. I have to angle my foot pretty far down. But even though it's a big, powerful, heavy bike, it is pretty low to the ground. It sits more like a cruiser than a sport bike or a touring bike or anything like that. Especially with the way this saddle sucks you in. Again, I know I keep going back to this, but it's like they copied some of the features of the VMAX. That seat does the same thing to keep you pinned in. Or a Hayabusa, if you're used to that, that's exactly the kind of cradle I've got on my butt. Seat is not long distance comfortable. I can already feel some pressure points in my butt. It feels fairly flat and low on padding. And what I'm feeling is lines underneath my legs. I can feel the edges of the seat, especially if I kind of squirm side to side. And it's on the narrow side. Kind of surprised about that. Especially with all the vibration, you would think they would kind of put a little more padding in there. It's got a lot of air scoop features, again. In my mind, copied from the VMAX. It's got these two side ones. It's also got a huge one underneath. And you know what? I forgot to do the little intro video for it here, just to walk around. So I'm going to stop before I get back to the shop and do that here. Just find a little parking lot. So overall, think drag bike. This is not a city bike. This is not a flickable nimble bike. This is not a even low-speed cruiser. It likes to go. It likes to be run hard, especially in a straight line. It'll turns very well as long as you're at speed. Just not a fan of how it turns at low speeds. So that's it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. This has been the 2015 Ducati Diavel Carbon Edition. Thanks a lot for watching. Love that sound. Really loud. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.